Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. My name is Melissa Jerkin. CSEP. I'm the International President of ILEA, and you are here today for our March into the Future webinar. It's April, however, for us. Time in the present over the last few years and really coming out of COVID. And now we are really turning our focus to, and I think there we go. Now we're really spending a lot of time focusing on first, really it's a nod to the past. We noticed that during the pandemic, we did lose a little bit of that time. Can't believe that it's already been 5 years. We all lose track of time during that period. But we spent a lot of time talking to past international presidents and luminaries. And I think it's always important when you want to make a big step forward to be able to have a nod to that past and reference it and not having to really recreate the wheel. And at the same time, really spending a lot of our efforts into the future. And that can look like anything. Also, the students. So we've been talking time in ILEA that we've recently partnered with ASU, NYU, and WSU. Between now and April 11th, you can join ILEA as a student member. It's normally a $50 fee, free. And really the emphasis of that is that we know that students are the future. They're the future, our future clients, our future attendees, our future team members, our workforce. And so it's so important for us to help bring them up into this new era and this next step for them, and also to learn more about them and what their preferences and styles are, so that we can be ready to work with them. I know I'm lucky to work with many students and kind of newer into the working field professionals, and I absolutely love the excitement and that they have what I have found to be very much then at that age, but it really is very neat to see the care and concern there at such a young age. And then also in well-being and, having that balance, which I think I missed the boat on that one. And so I love to see that going into it. And those are all things that we need to take into account. And as I think we all would agree, ideas can come from anywhere. They can come from the CEO, they can come from an intern. And so I think it's really important as an organization for us to engage students, and that is part of our initiative here on the Next Generation. And then we've been sharing best practices amongst our chapters about how we can best not only recruit, but engage and work with students to make sure it's a great experience for onboarding them. And then, of course, to talk about this and bring our current members together. Right now, ILEA is at almost 2,000 members. So we've been growing by leaps and bounds after that pandemic. So if you are a student joining now, or you know any students, please pass this along. They can join free now through April 11th. So they've got about a week more to go, and just use the code NEXTGEN. Without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our speaker, Angie Center, adjunct professor at School of Hospitality Business Management at Washington State University, which I am wearing my crimson today in honor of. I am also a proud grad of WS. Incredible job with this program. Many of us, this wasn't even a thought of being there. There weren't classes, minor, major, really exposure to the event industry as a field. And so it's really exciting to see and what WSU is doing to help grow that next generation, and everything from going out and having them work in the field through internships, They were just at the Northwest Event Show and different conferences and chapter meetings and whatnot. So we're going to go ahead and I will turn it over to Angie so that she's going to talk a little bit more about, working with students, working with Gen Z, and how we can really get ready for them to enter the workforce, because she gets to work with them every day. And I know she's really enthusiastic about it. So I will go ahead then and turn it over to you, Angie.
Awesome. Thanks, Melissa. I do think that we lost you a few times there. We cut in and out just a little bit. So just to kind of recap, if you didn't hear Melissa's kind of intro, so we are going to talk about hiring and creating events for Gen Z, which is what I do here 24/7 at Washington State University. So I am the professor of event management here in our hospitality school. And WSU is ranked in the top 10% of all programs. So last year we were the number 3 program in the US. We were the number 11 program in the world. So we're a big player in the industry, and I think sometimes we lose sight of that as a state institution. So I'm really blessed and excited to get to work here at WSU, which is my alma mater also. And like Melissa said, also her alma mater. So you'll see our logo on all kinds of stuff, and we wear lots of crimson and gray. But I teach all of our event management courses, and I'm also the event manager for the Carson College of Business. So I plan and oversee about 200 events a year, most of which are for Gen Z. So just a space that I'm in a lot, also a space that I'm seeing it be kind of missed a lot when people are doing internships or hiring or even creating events. I've seen some pretty catastrophic misses when we start to talk about Gen Z. So I'm going to just take about 15 minutes or so to talk to you a little bit about what I do, successes and failures, and then really would like to just have an open conversation about anything that you may be encountering in this demographic space. So we'll just kind of pop into it. Melissa's got my slideshow, and like I said, internet's been a little hoppy for her, so we'll see how this goes. So Melissa, can you pop through to our first slide? No-ish? Maybe?
And are you seeing the slides? Sorry, everyone. We're just having a little.
I see the first slide, ILEA slide. That's all I got.
All right, well, we'll just hold here and we'll see if we can populate that. 1 second. I'm not sure what is going on over here, but we're going to try again. And now can we see creating and hiring for Gen Z?
Yeah, if you want to go to the actual slideshow part.
Perfect. There we go.
Yay. Okay, so this is what we're talking about. Full disclosure, Canva and ChatGPT writes all of my materials for me, not actual content, but they do all this kind of stuff. So I tried to find the cringiest Gen Z PowerPoint presentation on Canva, and it did not fail me. So if you're like, wow, that's really stereotypical and cringy, it was intended to be that way. Also, if you have questions, there's only a handful of us on this space. You can ask live, you can pop them in the Q&A or in the chat. I have both of those open as well. All right, next one, please. Hopefully it moves. Yes, awesome. All right, so what kind of college professor would I be if we did not start off with terminologies and just looking at scope? So if you're not familiar with how these generations move, it's not a fine science. So if you're like, oh, I thought it was from this year to this year and you're a year or two off, that's totally a fine thing. This isn't a fine science. The builders, or otherwise known as traditionalists, were born before 1946. Then you have the boomers in 1946 to 1964. Then you have Generation X, 1965 to 1979. I'm the tail end of Generation X, so I was born in 1979. Then you have Generation Y, 1980 to 1994. And then we're focusing on Gen Z, which is 1995 to 2009. And I, for like comparison's sake, I graduated high school in 1998. So that kind of shows you how kind of one generation flops into another. And then if you want to know what's coming down the pipeline, it will be Gen Alpha from 2010 to 2024. So that's what we're looking at in terms of how these generations kind of pop through. We're looking at Gen Z. Can I have the next one, Melissa? Awesome. All right, so here is where the conflict lies and the excitement for the next generation, kind of 2 in 1. If we're looking at general characteristics for generations, which gets a little bit touchy, right? Not everyone in every generation fits this, but this is just if you were going to describe a bucket of people, what would they be? So your traditionalists, in the first one, they valued authority and top-down management. They were hardworking. They made do or went without. I mean, so really think about, you know, your grandpas, your great grandpas, those kind of things. That kind of fits that. Boomers coming in, they expected some degree of difference to their opinions. They were also workaholics. So this is really where more than 8 to 5 work days came from, working up through ranks came from. Gen X, so my generation, we were comfortable with authority. We'll work as hard as we needed to. We knew there was an importance of work-life balance. We did not get it, I will tell you that. But we were fine working. And our bosses, so your bosses are the generation a lot of times back, right? So our bosses were baby boomers who were workaholics. So when Gen X came in, we knew we had to kind of work our way up the ladder. So that's what we were doing. Gen Y, they knew that respect must be earned. They were technologically savvy, goal and achievement oriented, so very motivated, getting into that tech space. And then we have Gen Z. So because we're still in Gen Z, many of these traits are yet to emerge, but they are digital natives. They make very fast decisions. They are highly connected. So you can kind of see some of the different characteristics of these generations as we move forward. Next one, please. All right, so why do we even care about Gen Z? They are currently 30% of the world's population. So if you are producing events, 1/3 of your demographic age-wise is going to be Gen Z. So if you are missing characteristics that are important to them, you're missing 1/3 of the population. If you are hiring, which we all have employees, they are 27% of the current workforce. And we're going to talk about they're different. They're different workers than other generations. And so if you're struggling, it's because you're not understanding that they're different. So the 27% of the people working around you. So that's why it's important. So why we need to have this conversation today. Next one, please. All right, so I asked ChatGPT to tell me all of the negative word associations with Gen Z, and it did not disappoint. It did a dang good job. So part of what I do here at WSU is I help to get our students employed. All of the students that graduate my program are employed at graduation. And like we know, there's just a lot of jobs in the event world. And to have somebody that's coming out with a 4-year hospitality degree. And our students also have to have 1,000 hours of paid industry experience. And they also have to have an international business requirement completed, which means either study abroad or international business classes. So our students that are entering the workforce are highly sought after, and that's why they're all employed at graduation. But I do hear employers come back, not necessarily about my students, thankfully, at least nobody has emailed me yet. But I hear a lot of employers talking negatively about Gen Z in the workforce. And these are the words that they're saying. They say they're fragile, they're entitled, they're unrealistically driven, they're lazy, they're awkward emotionally, they get easily offended, they're unreliable, they're unmotivated, spend a lot of time on their screens, digitally impulsive, cancel culture, woke. These are all things I hear quite often. They're not wrong. They're in there. But every generation has negative things. I mean, you can ask your grandparents about your parents or your parents about you, right? And we've all got some negative things in there. So this, if you're in this space, there are things about this space that I would like to turn around for you when it comes to internships and hiring, and also when you're creating events for these this particular generation. So if we go to the next one, please, Melissa. I asked ChatGPT to do the exact opposite. Can you tell me the words more positively associated with Gen Z? And then this is what it gave me. And this really is the mindset that I live 24/7 when I'm at work. This generation is very driven. They are extremely conscientious. They are innovative. They are ambitious minded. They are very inclusive. They're diverse. They're tech savvy. They're resilient. They're confident. They're entrepreneurial. They're resourceful. This is the generation coming down the pipeline. And it's really, really exciting as an educator to push these employees out into the marketplace for you. Some things about this particular population is that they are extremely social conscious. They need to know how they fit in the world around them. So if you're designing internships or jobs or events for them, how they fit in what you're doing is number one. And if they don't see how they fit, they're not buying tickets, they're not applying for your job, they're not staying in an internship for you. So that's probably the number one takeaway when you look at kind of the difference between these two slides. But there's a lot of positivity here. So if you were in the previous slide, I want you to shift your thought process into this more positive side, and we'll get you lots of good things, I promise. All right, next one, please. All right, so I do, like I said, I help a lot of companies do internships. If you have internships in your particular business, awesome. If you don't, you should probably be thinking about it. It's great. Hiring funnel for you is also a great way to get some extra assistance. We know that events can be pretty cyclical, where we have busy times and we need extra hands that aren't full-time. So internships are a great place to be. I see about half of our internships are horrible. And I work with companies quite a bit to make them more positive. So if you have an internship or you're thinking about one, especially it will be a Gen Zer taking that spot, there's some things that you need to do to think about that more positively. One is you need to create some kind of value. I get emails all the time from people that are like, hey, can I have 5 or 6 students to run check-in at my event? It would be a great experience for them. They could put it on their resume. Well, running check-in is not creating any value, right? It's like slave labor. Like anyone can run your check-in. It's not has to have much of an impact on the event other than, you know, how a guest feels when they first walk in. There's no meat to the bone to something like that. So whatever you're asking them to do, it needs to create some value. So if you are going to ask them to run check-in for you, you need to explain to them, you're the first face my guest sees. You're the one setting the tone for the event for this guest. You're the one representing the brand. So you need to spell out that value just a little bit more for them when you're assigning tasks. You also need to create community for them. These are individuals that went through COVID during a pretty telling time in their life where they were fairly isolated. They do spend an exorbitant amount of time in digital communities. And so they really value face-to-face interactions. And a lot of them do have a hard time making friends. And so creating a community for them is really important. This could be a mentorship program. We have a mentorship program here at WCU. Melissa will be kind of pushing that out through your guys' channels, where we pair industry professionals up with students one-on-one. So mentorship programs are great. If you have social outings that you guys are doing, please invite them, help introduce them to people at networking events, even just make recommendations of a great gym or restaurant in the area will really help them find a sense of community. They do struggle to find their own sense of community. Create continual learning opportunities for them. This is a generation that grew up in YouTube. Anything they want to know, they can find out online. And if you're not playing with like ChatGPT and Gemini and Copilot and stuff like that, you're really behind, because this group can find anything out in seconds. So they want some continual learning opportunities. If you're asking them to do the same thing every day, yeah, they're not into it. They got to grow. The other thing that we struggle with in the events industry, for instance, is creating some kind of a feedback loop. This is a generation that is not shy to tell you when they don't like something. They don't like something about your company, your event, you personally, the outfit you're wearing. Because they're used to, again, social media, where you can make comments on anything, and you can make those comments semi anonymously, or at least by hiding essentially behind your screen. They're used to being pretty blunt. So just know that they're going to come in with that. They might need some coaching to do that more professionally, but they're also honestly trying to make their world better. They're telling you that they don't like something or that they do like something in order to create a better environment, really, for everyone around them. So it can be a little shocking, especially when you have an intern coming in and making some suggestions. But it's part of their world. It's part of their language structure. And then the other thing, unfortunately, I'm sorry, you do have to pay them. So our students do have to have 1,000 hours of paid internship experience. So experience, like come get some experience, put on your resume, doesn't really work. You do need to pay them. It could be in like kind. I have a lot of students that do internship work for like music festivals in exchange for tickets to the festival. So that's a possibility. But if you're looking at internships, these are some of the main buckets. If you hit these, you'll have a really good experience. Melissa, can I have the next one? Now, if you're hiring, and again, please remember, I asked Canva to create me a cringy PowerPoint about Gen Z, but I do think I've seen students in this outfit on campus. If you are hiring, remember they are 27% of the workforce currently, so we do need to be paying attention to these people. 77% of them value work-life balance. This is a huge issue in the event industry. We work 60-hour work weeks all the time. We work nights, we work weekends, we work holidays. We work before the guests show up and after the guests show up, right? So it's hard to get a Gen Z to work what we're used to in events. And I think that's probably the number one pain point that we're seeing with the industry right now. However, if you are aligning that work with their core values, they will work you under the table. They are extremely passionate and driven for things that are of value to them. They're very social conscious. And so if there's things that align with their core competencies, their core social values, they are in it to win it for you. But they are probably going to do that hard and heavy for you for a while and then expect time off. They are going to expect remote work, or at least hybrid work, or at least flexible scheduling, which thankfully we can do really well in the events industry. We're great at flexible scheduling and hybrid work. So it's a good niche for them. Again, they need a good work community. They like gyms on site or close by, restaurants, that kind of thing. They need, again, to know where their value is. They need constant praise. You know, this was the participation trophy generation, so they do need praise. The other thing that I've noticed with this group when they go out to hire, they are social media savvy. So on average, they spend 4 hours a day on social media. They are not social media trained. So to hire a Gen Zer into your company and say, okay, you'll do the social media for all our events, or you'll do the social media for our company. No, this is like hiring your gardener to be your dentist because your gardener also has teeth. So they are good at being on social media, they are not good at creating social media strategy. So two totally different things. So just kind of be a little conscientious. Just because they're super great at technology does not mean that they should be leading that strategy for you. All right, next one. Awesome. Okay, so if you are creating events, so we talked about internships and hiring, but obviously they're also attending our events. Like I said, I do about 200 of those a year. And this is my demographic. So if you are creating events for Gen Z, again, remember it's a third of the world's population right now. So it's a third of people buying tickets, and we need to know what the heck they want so we can get butts and seats, right? It is estimated by 2030 that they will have $12 trillion in spending power. This will be the wealthiest generation in human history. Oh, and we lost our PowerPoint. That's fine. We don't need it. So they have a tremendous amount of spending power, and we really want to make sure that we are capitalizing on that as they're buying tickets and participating. So it's also really important for why we are looking at Gen Z. The other thing about Gen Z in terms of event creation is 36% of Gen Zers have boycotted a business within the last year. Oh, we're back. So 36% have boycotted a brand in the last year, which means if they don't like you, they do not spend their money on you. This is the first generation that I've really seen that actually does put their money where their mouth is. They are not joking. And so you really have to be very brand conscious and making sure that your brand is aligning with Gen Z needs or they're out. Okay, next one. Pretty close to being done. Can you flick to the next one, Alyssa? Oh, perfect. Yay. Okay, last slide. And then I'll quit talking at you. So things Gen Z wants in an event. They want in-person interaction. I think we really, really miss the boat sometimes with Gen Z, and we think, oh no, webinars are fine. They like webinars. They're on their phone all the time. No, they do not want a webinar. They might want a hybrid option if they can't make it there in time to attend whatever you're doing. They'll want to see recordings of the events post-event. They're okay with an event app. They don't love it as much as you would think that they love it. They're kind of app heavy, so they're like, not that excited. They don't like avatars. That's also a thing we think that they like. They do not like avatars in general. I'm talking very in general buckets, right? They really want in-person interaction. Again, they have already spent about 4 hours a day on their phone. They're done being in their phone. In fact, when I go places with my students, if we have dinner and I try to answer a text message or an email on my phone, they will all yell at me. There's no phones at the table. If you are having a meal with a Gen Z, they're pretty adamant that it's not a digital interaction. So really think about offering in-person interaction. They get almost all of their content via social media. So you need to know what platforms they're on. Actually, YouTube is one of the highest ones. LinkedIn and Facebook are some of the lower ones. There's also stuff out now, Twitch and Slack, and I don't even know. There's more out there than I could even tell you. So they are on social media. You need to have good social media marketing. They also get a lot of their decision-making from influencers. So what are the influencers in your particular area about whatever it is that your event is, and how can you fold them in to create hype around your event? If the influencers are toting your event, that's probably where you're going to get a lot of traction for them to attend. You also need to do some work that I think in events we touch on, but we're not super great at. Gen Z needs you to spell out pretty blatantly how they're going to belong to this event. So that means the images that you put out, they need to be able to see themselves at. They also know when something is AI generated. So if you're doing a bunch of AI generated imaging, they know right away and they wall up. They use AI, they use ChatGPT. Trust me, I'm a college professor. I've read more ChatGPT essays than I ever care to. So they're very tech savvy, but they don't like that inauthentic AI look. So when they're looking at images, they want to see real pictures of real people that they feel like they could connect with. They need to know exactly what will happen. They want to know the agenda. They want to know where they're going to park. They want to know where the ticketing system is. Again, these are not latchkey kids. These were kids that were very, I don't want to say coddled, but they were very monitored as they moved through their development. So they feel more comfortable when they know exactly what is going to happen. They're going to have friends there. Their friends are talking about it. That's where they feel like they're really going to attend for you. And then it needs to align with their social agendas. So are you sustainable? Are you using green energy? Are you fundraising for a particular initiative? Are you supporting women owned? Are you farm to table? Are you carbon neutral? These are all kind of buzzwords and buckets that they're really into right now. And they also want to participate in that with you. So if you are carbon neutral and you rent bikes to help get people through the city to your conference, they will use the bikes. They will take social media videos of them using the bikes and promote for you. So they want to participate in the social agenda with you. And again, that kind of brings that belonging, that sense of community all together with that. So overall, I mean, they're just a super fun bucket. I think they get kind of a bad rap sometimes, but these can be really, really beneficial interns, employees, and guests at your events, as long as you kind of, like I said, now understand they're a little bit different, have to be handled a little bit differently. But I think they have a lot to offer. I'm super excited about the students that we're pushing out the door towards you. So, oops, I got all kinds of things popping up on my computer. So yeah, we're just really excited about it. So Melissa, I think we've kind of be done with this lovely slide of this gentleman in this amazing outfit. And I'd like to just open it up. Does anybody have any questions? Or Melissa, is there anything that you want to kind of add or things I didn't cover that you think your people need to know more about?
Well, thank you so much, Angie, and thanks to everyone for hanging in there with our AV challenges. There must be some internet gods that are not our friend today for some odd reason, but I think this was very informative. And let me open it up. Please pop in the chat if you have a question for Angie.
Yeah, okay, so I do see a couple in the Q&A, so that's awesome. So we'll just take the first one, and it says, when talking specifically ILEA student members, what is some advice you can give to us to get in front of professors or students, go to class, blah, blah, blah. Yes, so each college is different in how they interact. So I will tell you what WSU does. We have a couple of different ways to interact, and we absolutely love corporate connection. So the bulk of our students are located in Pullman, Washington, which is in Eastern Washington, in the middle of a gigantic wheat field. So the more corporate connections we can bring in, the better. And so you would just need to contact whoever at the university handles student engagement. So at WSU, that would be me. I will even put my email in the actual chat so that everyone has it and you can connect. Oh, nope, I did not put it in the, I sent it to one random person. There we go. So that is my email. So you would get a hold of me. It could also be the director of your hospitality school, could be somebody in student services. It just depends on the university, but here would be me. And you would just say, hey, this is what I do, and I would love to connect with students. What are my options? Because what you do and the ranking of what you do, it kind of helps dictate what the best engagement would be. But we have people come in and speak at classes. So it's actually how I met Melissa. Is she did a little recorded Zoom interview with me for HBM 383, I think, for my advanced class. And And so that's how we hooked up. So she was able to talk to those students. Most universities have some type of student event clubs. And so those you can come talk to. So we have one here called Sigma Iota, and it's kind of our big branch. So the ILEA student members will be under the branch of Sigma Iota. So you could come and talk to them. You could be on a panel or a keynote at one of our student events. If you are hiring or have internships, we can promote those to you for free. We use a platform called Handshake. You just have to provide us information. We will pop that up for you. If you're close to our campus, you could even come and do a campus tour, be in class in person. You could table if you have a company, again, that's hiring and you've got a couple jobs open. We'll give you a table in our student service area. You can talk to students live there. And then, of course, most universities have a mentorship program, and we have one as well here. So I think it's a 1 hour a month commitment, and they do a lot of work to really link the student up with the mentor. So it's a really valuable relationship. So 8,000 ways to connect. Maybe that's what I needed to say, but yeah, shoot me an email if you're interested in connecting with WSU, which is the best program in the world. That would be how you do it. Okay, next. What area within the events industry do you see students most interested in right now? Like catering, AV, entertainment, planning? Ooh, that's a good one. I will say I teach event planning, 301, which is intro to event planning. I had 78 students in that class. About a third want to do wedding planning. And or own their own venue. So one thing about Gen Z is they're very entrepreneurial. They really probably don't want to work for somebody if they didn't have to. They'd like to do their own thing. So they want to do their own venues in the terms of wedding planning, and like owning wineries or that type of venue, that kind of outdoors venue. That's about a third. About another third want to do corporate event planning. They are drawn to the more 8 to 5, not really weekends, not really holiday type thing. They like that, and they're usually brand conscious. So a lot of my students that come out doing corporate events know the exact company they want to work for. It might be an Amazon or a Microsoft. REI was one a little while ago. I mean, they come out knowing the brand that they want to go work for. And a lot of times, again, that aligns with their corporate social identity. And then I have about a third that take event planning because they want to go into other areas of hospitality and they know it's going to touch events, right? So, I mean, I go into a hotel to run an event. It's a $20,000 minimum, probably, right? So if you want to run a hotel, you better know how to speak to events. And so it's pretty even across the board. I think catering is probably what everybody's most interested in. Food's pretty sexy right now. Yeah, it's kind of a little bit of everything. One of the interesting things about WSU is our hospitality program is actually housed in the Carson College of Business. So our students get a fully accredited business degree. So we have a little bit of a different student coming out. They are more interested in the business side of the house. All right. Lisa Bennett says, I work on a college campus. I love it. And I have a team of students. I want to promote within the team, but I'm having difficulty getting my students motivated to take on a leadership role. Yes, they aren't hospitality majors, but still getting office experience in our events. Yes, yeah, they do. They struggle bus when it comes to wanting to be leaders. They're very comfortable like by themselves. Like, give me my thing and I'm going to go do my thing over here. I think it comes up with two things, Lisa, that I found is some really good mentorship. So I'm going to promote you into this role, but you're not going to be alone. We're going to meet every week or, whatever your schedule is, so that I'm there to assist you and give you everything that you need to be successful. And then two, again, is where's that value proposition for them? So, I want to promote you up because I think your skills are going to help the team in this way. and really show them the value of what it is that they bring to the table is really important. Like really, really important to those guys. So yeah, they just need they need more hand holding, unfortunately. But they're great once they get there. I love that you work for a college. That's awesome. Other questions?
And Angie, maybe while we wait to see if there are any more questions, I moved over to my phone since the internet connection seems to have its own way here. But in case you didn't hear the beginning, I'm so sorry. I wanted to tell everybody a little bit about what we're doing with our Next Generation and March into the Future campaign. It sounds like that was a little bit spotty, but it's really important that everybody hear about what we're doing. You know, we took a look at the entire scope of ILEA. We noticed two things that really came to fruition there is with the pandemic. And I know it's crazy that it's been 5 years since it, and thankfully so, but we had lost a lot of information and sort of history, legacy, if you will. So we've spent some time there really reconnecting with past presidents and past luminaries. And it's always important before you go forward that you're able to do that look back and not recreate the wheel and, you know, have those learnings and assessments about what was done. So we've spent some time there. And then we've done a big push about pushing into the future. And that can mean a number of things. So like partnering with colleges and universities. As Angie mentioned, it's a huge part of our workforce and going to be even more so. And so we feel the same as an organization. We know that those are our future clients, attendees, team members. So we've been partnering with colleges and universities. And in fact, ASU, NYU, and WSU, which we're so thrilled about and so thankful for, and more to come for sure. But we really want to be at the table to help grow those students. I think we'd all agree that organizations like ILEA have been instrumental in our growth, and so it's important for us to help bring in that next era. And working with educators like Angie and Aaron, who joined us last week, to talk about how we can prepare and how we can best work with and create internship programs, mentoring opportunities at all of the colleges, and more. There are those opportunities. And we even looked at potentially creating our own. And what we found is these exist already in the universities, and they're amazing programs. And the need is there. That they actually need mentors to join. And so we're going to be getting information out about the partnerships that we have. And I'm sure you could go to our partner colleges and universities or any college that's local to you and serve in that way as well. A very big push for us is making membership accessible to students. So now, between now and April 11th, students can join free. If they're enrolled in a college and university program, then they're able to join now. It's about a week more to go. After that, it is $50 to join. But that's a wonderful way. And I hope if you know any students that you encourage them to jump on board. We've worked very closely with our chapters about sharing best practices so that it isn't that we're just onboarding students and recruiting them, but we're also finding ways that we can engage students and bring them into the fold more. And then, of course, it is looking at things like preparing for the next generation through learning about their preferences and also their ideas and really involving them. So that is a little bit about that March into the Future campaign that we're working on right now. And if you have any ideas, please reach out to us. We're going to continue on this initiative, and hopefully we see a number of students and joining ILEA and getting in on the early part for helping with their career. So thank you again, Angie. Thank you so much. I don't know if there was any more questions. I'll check that chat real quick before we head out. And let's see, I don't think I see any more. We will go ahead and route your contact information. I think you may have popped it in there too. You can hop on ileahub.com/students to learn more. And if you're not getting our e-newsletter, then please feel free to hop over on our website and sign up on that homepage so we can deliver this info over to your eyeballs too. But again, Angie, thank you so much. You might have missed me, but I am in my crimson here. I am a proud graduate of WSU and really just so enthused by what you're doing over there. I know it's a phenomenal program, a ranked program, and I think I can say on behalf of all of us, thank you for helping to grow that next generation.
Wonderful. Thanks for having me, Melissa, and thank you to the whole ILEA community for accepting our students. We're really excited to make some connections with you as we move forward.
Awesome. Wonderful. Well, have a great rest of the day, everyone. And again, thanks so much, Angie. And I'll just add go Cougs.
Go Cougs!
Take care. Bye bye, all.